All right, my name is Alex Bonfante, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my research project on AS Roma. So, AS Roma, which stands for Associazione Sportiva Roma, is a soccer club, obviously, in the city of Rome, the main soccer club in Rome. It is located, their main stadium, the Stadio Olimpico, is located outside the city center of Rome. You can see the map on the screen. It's away from the Colosseum, the Pantheon, Trevi Fountain, and all that. Their badge is also on the screen. It features the she-wolf Lupa and Romulus and Remus, who were the original founders of ancient Rome. Their colors, as can be seen, are yellow and red. These colors were decided when the club was originally founded. They were colors loved by the local community, and as such, they were applied to the new soccer club. And their jersey is also on the screen. They currently feature a sponsorship with New Balance and Digital Bits. All right, so we're going to get into a brief history of AS Roma. The club was founded in 1927 by Italo Foschi, among a group of founders. His whole thing was he wanted to create a club in Rome that could compete with the powerful northern clubs such as Juventus, AC Milan, and Inter. And along with others, he was able to found Roma. Now, 15 years after the founding, relatively little time, the club won its first league title, or Scudetto, in 1942. After this, there was a long period of relatively little success. The club was relegated, and it was a bit of a struggle until the 80s, when Dino Viola came into the picture as the next president, and he is in the bottom picture, the older gentleman. He started the period of more success in the 80s, which resulted in another league title in 1982-83. And then throughout the next decade and a half, Roma was very competitive. They won many cups, Italian cups. And finally, in 2000 and 2001, the club won its third Scudetto with a squad featuring Francesco Totti, among others. Even after that Scudetto, Roma has been very competitive. They won more cups, and they still compete highly in today's league. Now, club diversity. Let's start with the presidents. As I mentioned, Italo Foschi was huge in starting the club and running it for the first couple of decades. Dino Viola, as I mentioned, was probably the most important president that Roma has ever had. He took them out of a long period of little to no success and really put them back on the map as a force in Italian and European soccer. As far as managers go, Roma's had a good list featuring managers such as Lead Nielholm, Jose Mourinho, who's the current coach, is considered one of the greatest coaches of all time. Fabio Capello is another great coach. And then the players. They've had a lot of good players in their time. Among at the very top of that list would be Francesco Totti, who's pictured in the left image. He is considered the king of Roma because he never left the club. He played there his whole career. He had many opportunities to leave for better teams, for more money, but he always said no. He always stuck it out with his boyhood club, and for that, he is a bit of a cult hero among Roma fans. Now, speaking of Roma fans, you will not find a closer group of fans than Roma fans. They're not the biggest comparatively to other clubs in the world like Manchester United, FC Barcelona, Real Madrid. They don't have nearly as many fans as those clubs, but there is not another club out there with more passionate fans. Many have described supporting Roma as more than just being a fan. It's even considered a faith. Even in the United States, Roma has a very solid following. Many have described that watching Roma on the crappy Italian international channel in the US is magical for them. And that's really what it's all about for this group of fans. Even in the bottom picture, the player, Paulo Dybala, he was formerly from a rival team, which I'll get into in a sec. And yet they bought him and they gave him one of the biggest presentations that the world has ever seen. So Roma fans are really, really a unique group. Speaking of rivalries, Roma really has two main rivals in Italian soccer. The first one that I'll talk about is the one with SS Lazio, the other Roman soccer team. Roma has always been seen as the older brother to Lazio, despite the fact that they're actually younger. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Roma has been more successful than Lazio and has gotten the better of them throughout history. But Lazio is not their main rivals, even though they are from the same city. Their main rivals, like many other clubs in Italy, would be Juventus FC. And a lot of that has to do with many battles over the years. Juventus has gotten the better of them more often than not. It also has to do with social and political battles. Juventus is from the north, Rome is closer to the south, and there's always been struggles in not just soccer in Italy, but I mean society in Italy as far as that's concerned, north versus south. And Juventus has really been a thorn in Roma's side for many years. They took a lot of cups and league titles away from them. So I would say that Juventus is Roma's main rival without a doubt. And finally, present and the future. Roma was recently acquired by a group known as the Friedkin Group. Dan Friedkin, the head of this group, is pictured in the top image. He has talked about Roma continuing to become a global platform in the world of soccer and in the world of sports in general. As I mentioned, the club recently hired Jose Mourinho as their coach, who many consider one of, if not the greatest coach of all time. And that to me is an indicator of their attempt to really rise and compete with other big name clubs on the global stage. They also have a female team, so they're expanding their diversity as well. And as shown in the right picture, their fan base is expanding to all parts of the globe. I respect Roma a lot as a club. They are one of my favorite Italian soccer teams, and I'm a huge follower of Italian soccer. They've always been very likable compared to other clubs. Unfortunately, that being said, I could never support Roma as a club because I am a fan of their biggest rival, Juventus FC. But it has been a lot of fun researching Roma, and thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you have a good day.